2.5 years ago, at the end of 2023, I lost my job. And the timing for that couldn't have been worse, because 2 weeks prior to that, I had become a dad for the first time. And what made the situation even worse was that my employer hadn't been able to pay me for the 3 months prior to losing my job. So I was basically already relying on my savings at the time. Now in this video, I quickly want to talk about why this seemingly very bad situation turned out to be a blessing in so many ways. And I want to talk about it because I think that so many times in life when we are going through dark times, there actually can be found something good in them, and very often these things that happen to us turn out to be a good thing in the end. As spoiler alert, it was the case with this situation. Back to my story. The first good thing about having lost my job was that I actually had time to take care of my wife and my son at the time. Especially because the job I had been working was very demanding. I was working 60 to 80 hours a week, and it wasn't even paid that well. And I was slowly burning out at the time, to be honest. And in hindsight, I'm not even sure how I should have managed this job and the baby for the first few weeks, because as many of you know, having a baby, the first weeks can be like hell. Very little sleep, a lot of crying and stress, and even especially with the first baby where you actually don't know what you're doing. It's very stressful. It can be very stressful. It certainly was for us at the time. So in hindsight, I'm not even sure how I should have handled that situation with that job. So kind of already was a blessing in that way. The second good thing was that I was actually getting rid of that job, which had been draining. And I want to say that my financial situation turned out to be okay, because luckily enough, the German financial security system took care of that. I got back the 3 months of no money from the state, which I'm incredibly grateful for. And I was also getting money from the insurance for the next few months, which made sure that I would be able to take care of my family as well. So the financial situation actually turned out not to be a problem at all, even though I had been afraid that it wouldn't work out in a sense, because I've never had been in the situation. I certainly knew about that you weren't sure and that you were able to get your money back in a sense. But, if you've never been in that situation, you certainly are afraid that somehow it doesn't work out, and you just see the money leaving your bank account. You feel like, okay, how many more weeks can I do this, right? The next great thing about losing my job actually was that 6 or 8 weeks later, I actually found a new job. A job on which I could work part-time, which was great because I could spend more time with my family. And that actually paid about the same amount of money as the job I had been working on before. Remember, it was like 60 to 80 hours a week. So at least double the amount of hours I was working at the new job, and I was still getting that same money, which is kind of weird, to be honest. So that turned out to be a blessing as well. Here I was working way less hours, being way more relaxed, being able to recover from my burnout situation, and getting about the same amount of money. And until this day, I'm working this job. I'm fairly happy about it. It's a great situation to be in. It's a good job, and yeah. So as you see, the situation that couldn't have been worse in a sense turned out to be a blessing in so many ways. And one more thing that happened as a result of that certainly was this YouTube channel I've started, which for me has been a creative outlet and something I really like to do. And I certainly wouldn't have started that if I had been on the old job, because I just wouldn't have had the time for that, right? So yeah, that's the story. Maybe it inspires you to find something good in seemingly bad situations you find yourself in. I'd be really interested in like stories you have around this kind of situation. Stories about how really bad situations in your life turned out to be good ones, because I find these ones really inspiring in a sense. So maybe share them in the comments, that would be great. Otherwise, I hope you're having a nice day, and if you want to support me, subscribe to the channel, that would be helpful. Give a thumbs up to the video, you know how to do it, and yeah. Have a nice day and goodbye.